she loves freedom in every place that it needs to be fought for. And I'm so grateful to call her my sister. I'm so grateful to call her my friend. I'm so grateful to be working with you, and I'm so honored to be standing here with you as we celebrate 10 years of Existence is Resistance. So please give her some more love, please. Don't go to Palestine with her though, unless you got. No, I'm serious. That's the other story I keep hearing. I coming down saying you get people shot or almost shot. She told me I was going to a party. She ain't telling me it was a party of a prisoner release in a refugee camp. And when I got out the car and there was machine guns and shit, she was like, "Oh, you know, you might want to stay close to me." But did you die though? I didn't. You're right, I didn't. The last couple months have been crazy. Y'all might have heard, you know, my whole window to the wall thing. It's safer if you just do that. And a lot of y'all have shown me so much love. Y'all have been so generous. Y'all have been so kind. Y'all have been so loving, and the solidarity that I have seen here in Palestine and really around the world has been overwhelming, and I'm grateful for it. So let me first say thank you all for that. It's meant so much. But the support and solidarity and the love that I've gotten, while I'm grateful for it, I don't want to ever appear as if I'm standing on top of or in front of a whole tradition of freedom fighters who have sacrificed so much more, who have paid much larger prices than losing a TV job. It's a fucking TV job. Is that the new chant?
Fuck CNN. Fuck CNN. Fuck CNN. Woo!
They can't fire me twice. Fuck CNN! But this kind of shit will, I mean, for a minute you can get caught up in this and start to think that this stuff matters more than it does. Like, we trying to fight for freedom, man. I was sitting there so crazy. I was sitting there and I was like, you know, they fired me, you know, and it was really bad. You know, I landed and I went to the UN and then I got fired. And it was a really crazy day. You know, and I was sitting there, it was the week for my birthday, 2 weeks for my birthday, and I was about to be 40. And I was like, yo, 40 is the time when you feel grown, you're supposed to have shit and buy shit and feel comfortable about your shit. And I was suddenly like without this job, and like getting fired in private sucks. Everybody in here most probably been fired. Y'all radicals, y'all get fired all the time. But getting fired in public is like a thing, because like even when you like over it, somebody walks up to you like, it's okay, you'll be fine. And I'm like, I was fine until you came up to me crying and shit. Right now I'm sad again, you know? But I'm like, Dr. King got killed at 39. Che Guevara got killed at 39. Malcolm X got killed at 39. Taking a nigga job. Forgive my language. Fred Hampton didn't get to see 39 or 29. We paid so much of a bigger cost than a job. These jobs are worth more than freedom. We got Pam Africa sitting there. Woo! Woo! She spent her entire life on the front line. The minister, not of information, the minister of confrontation. She has stood and stared the state in the eye, sometimes looking like this, but staring the state in the eye, fearless, while 6'4" Negroes hiding and running, afraid of the job they're gonna lose, afraid of the opportunity they're gonna lose. She sacrificed everything to make sure that we have a better chance at freedom, to make sure that Mumia will walk out a free man one more time. But not just Mumia, all political prisoners. We say freedom all. What's the call? What's the call? What's the call? We got to say, cool. Give him some more love, please. That ain't enough. We cannot celebrate Assad Shakur and say Assad's name and ignore the fact that this man walked into the prison, walked her out by the hand, and sat in her place for 38 years. What kind of sacrifice is that? Fuck these jobs, man. Sat in her place. What are we willing to fight for? What are we willing to die for? What are we willing to live for? Sometimes these martyrs have the almost luxury of death. The contradictions get washed away. The tough decisions get washed away. The difficulties get erased. But we got to live and make decisions of integrity. We have to speak the truth even when it's bitter. Even when it's unpopular, especially when it's unpopular. That's the work that we've been called to do. So when existence is resistance stands up and makes a commitment to the liberation of oppressed people, that's a freedom blow. But the very idea of existence is resistance is to acknowledge that within the context of patriarchal, homophobic, transphobic capitalist empire, our very bodies, our very existence, our very lives is a threat to power. So just staying alive, just surviving, just fighting, just pushing back, just resisting, just having joy, just dancing, just singing, just rapping, just telling jokes, just being here is a form of resistance that they hate. They hate that we in this room right now. They hate that we organizing right now. And they hate that there's transnational solidarity building all around the world. When Dream Defenders, Ahmed Abu Zaid, or when Existence is Resistance with Nancy Mansour, when these folk start organizing delegations to Palestine, they are standing in a tradition of folk who understood that we can't imagine freedom without a transnational vision. That's what Malcolm was doing in 58. When he steps into East Jerusalem, that's what was happening in 64 when he went back. See, the Disney-fied narrative of Malcolm was that he hated white people, went to Mecca, saw some white people, and got transformed into some multicultural action figure that we can now accept. When Malcolm meets with Gamal Abdel Nasser, when Malcolm is connected to the Organization of African Unity, when Malcolm is building and learning and teaching and growing, Malcolm understood that there's no way to have freedom in Ghana without freedom in Egypt and freedom in Cuba without freedom. You understand what I'm saying? That the anti-colonial struggle was a global one, and that we can link our American visions of freedom, our American freedom dreams, to a transnational freedom dream. That's what made Malcolm so dangerous. That's why they want to kill Malcolm. They want to kill King not because he was telling Negroes to have dreams. It's because he understood the intersectional nature of militarism and white supremacy and capitalism. And how they're constitutive of each other. They understood that. So that's what makes Existence Resistance so dangerous, because when you get a bunch of Negroes together, and not just fancy bow tie wearing Morehouse College Negroes. That's what I'm saying. When you bring the Crips to Quds, now you want some shit. That's what Huey was organize these academics and intellectuals, but we need the gangsters, the dope dealers, the unemployables. We need to organize them, because when they come in there, revolutionary but gangsters, now we got a whole different movement. This ain't a respectable delegation. Ain't shit respectable about a Nancy Mansour delegation. But it goddamn sure is revolutionary. So,
Mansour.
I ain't gonna keep y'all long. I know it's late, but as we think about the movement and we think about the story of freedom, the story of justice, Palestinian Black solidarity will be a key piece of it. Not just for its own sake, although that matters, right? Palestinian liberation matters. But it's also an opportunity for all of us to think and act and organize globally. When you go on the delegation and you arrive in East Jerusalem and you see somebody like Ali Jeddah or Mahmoud Jeddah or anybody in the African quarter, you're not just looking at folk that look like you.
That's right.
You're understanding a more complicated way that race operates within the context of the Israeli nation state. We gotta understand that race ain't the same everywhere. That's why it was important for the PLO to be meeting with Fatah. With PLO to be meeting with the Panthers. To understand how these racial dynamics play out against different places. When we go to South Tel Aviv, if you gotta go to South Tel Aviv, and you're looking at refugees, the only democracy in the Middle East, but you got refugees from Sudan and Eritrea who've been there for 12 and 14 years who still haven't been given asylum, who are still being called infiltrators, who are still not being accepted into the nation state despite the fact that they signed the refugee, they were one of the initial signatories on the refugee legislation, the international refugee legislation. It tells you a story about who and what this nation state is. Our Ethiopian brothers and sisters who come here to make Aliyah to the Jewish state as Jews, but are not accepted in 1948. It ain't to 1985 that they get there. When they get there, they're still not accepted as full citizens. It helps us understand that it's not just about a Jewish state. It's also about ethno-nationalism. It's also about white supremacy. It's also about structural inequality. To tell the story of historic Palestine, to tell the story of Israel and Palestine, is to tell a story of inequality that we must redress so that everybody has freedom, justice, and equality. But to tell that story, we need brave warriors like Nancy Mansour. We need brave organizations like Existence is Resistance to open our eyes to this issue so that if you're in the United States dealing with prison abolition, you can understand that there's no way to end prisons in the United States without also ending the open air prison of Gaza. They're connected. There's no way to stop corrupt policing in the United States if we don't stop the coordinated efforts of Israeli police training in Israel to the police who are trained here in the United States. Those coordinated efforts have to be understood and dismantled. We can't have any freedom movement worth its salt if we don't take seriously this issue of racism. But that question of racism and anti-blackness can't just be a conversation we have about Israeli soldiers calling us Kushis, although they do. If we're gonna be honest about this thing, we also gotta talk about anti-black racism within Arab communities. We have to be willing to have honest conversations, because the project of showing up can't just mean that we come out and say free Palestine. When these black bodies lay on the ground in the United States or in the continent of Africa or in Latin America, we need Palestinian brothers and sisters to show up just as much as you need us to show up for you. And it can't be transactional. It has to be undergirded by a love of justice, a love of freedom, a love of us. The work of freedom is unfinished. It'll remain unfinished. We live in an imperfect world, but